Muy buenas tardes a todas y a todos.
Good evening, everyone. As you all are aware, yesterday, United States government imposed tariffs of 25% on products that we export to their country. It has been 30 years without tariffs because we have a free trade agreement. The last free trade agreement was signed by Presidents López Obrador and Trump. This measure of 25% tariffs has effects for both countries and very serious effects on the United States economy, since it will greatly increase the price of all products that Mexico exports to the United States. They will have a 25% higher cost, according to these measures that the United States government approved. There are documents that support it, and according to this, one of the reasons for imposing this tariff is because of the fentanyl that enters to the United States from Mexico and causes illness and death due to overdose. But even more irresponsible, terribly irresponsible, is that the White House issues a document saying that there are links between the Mexican government and organized crime. I want to tell you about the statement that I published through my social media profile yesterday. There I explain who are those who truly have links with these criminal groups. The reason for the overdose deaths of Americans and also publish that if they really want to act, they shouldn't set their sight on Mexico but set it on their own country, where they have done nothing to stop the illegal sale of this and other drugs. First of all, as I said yesterday, we categorically reject the slander that the White House makes to the Mexican government of having alliances with criminal organizations as well as any intention to interfere in our territory. Sovereignty is not negotiated. If such an alliance exists anywhere, it is in the armories of the United States that sell to these groups high-powered weapons. Yes, high-powered weapons that are only for the exclusive use of their army. Listen carefully. This was demonstrated by the United States Department of Justice itself on January 8 of this year. Here I have the document that was published on that date, where the Office of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive, which depends on the Department of Justice, recognizes that 74% of the weapons used by organized crime in Mexico come illegally from the military industry of their country. In 4 months, our government has seized more than 40 tons of drugs, including 20 million doses of fentanyl. It has also arrested more than 10,000 people linked to these groups. We have a strategy. We address the causes and fight impunity. Every day we work for the security of the country. Now, if the United States government and its agencies wanted to address the serious consumption of fentanyl in their country, why don't they start by fighting the sale of narcotics on the streets of their main cities? Or how come the people with addictions buy drugs? Why we have never heard of arrests of criminal groups in the United States? How is that the money laundering of criminal groups there is not investigated? Why they do not put all their intelligence to work to detect those criminal groups that sell fentanyl in their territory or other drugs? Well, they could also start a massive campaign to prevent the consumption of these drugs and take care of their young people, as we do in Mexico. The consumption and distribution of drugs is in their country, and that is also a public health problem that has never been addressed. Why don't they ask themselves what is the underlying reason for so much drug consumption that has been going on for so long in the United States? Also, yesterday I mentioned that the epidemic of synthetic opioids in the United States has its origin in the indiscriminate prescription of this type of medication authorized by the Food Drug Administration, the FDA. This was demonstrated by a trial against a pharmaceutical company. There are TV series that explain this. Even more, the drug that caused the crisis of synthetic opioid consumption is still on sale in their pharmacies with official authorization. I want to tell you, and this is very important, Mexico does not want confrontation. We start from collaboration between neighboring countries. Mexico not only does not want fentanyl to reach the United States, but we do not want it to reach anywhere. So if the United States want to combat criminal groups and want us to do it together, we must work comprehensively, but always under the principles of shared responsibility, mutual trust, collaboration, and above all, respect for sovereignty. Sovereignty is not negotiable. Coordination, yes. Subordination, no. For this, yesterday, in my statement, I proposed to President Trump that we establish a working table with our best teams, the security teams, and also the public health teams. It is not with the imposition of tariffs that they solve the problems, but by talking and dialoguing. The way we did it, I want to tell you about this. We did it in recent weeks. We talked with the State Department to address the phenomenon of migration, in our case, always with respect for human rights. The graphic that President Trump has been sharing in his social media about the decrease in migration was elaborated by my team that has been in constant communication with his team. To our Mexican brothers and sisters, Mexicans in the United States, I want to tell you that here is your president and an entire nation to defend you. If you wish to come back to Mexico, here we embrace you all. The people of Mexico are brave and have a lot of dignity. They are the most wonderful people on earth. I'm telling you, here is your president. We have courage and firmness, but as I already have said in other occasions, we have to keep a cool head and our love for our people. Nothing we do will affect the dignity and interests of the Mexican people. I suggest that we wait for President Trump's response to our proposal. And tomorrow morning, at the Mañanera del Pueblo, Mañanera Conference, I'll inform you about the first measures of what we call Plan B. And as Juarez said, nothing by force, everything by reason and law. And between individuals, as in between nations, respect for the rights of others is peace.